Welcome back to the Tailosive EV
Welcome
podcast.
back to the Tailosive.
Welcome back to the... Now we're definitely out of sync.
Who?
Cool.
Wow,
Jeff who?
this is depressing.
No, it's
Welcome back to the Tailosive EV podcast, everybody. There we go.
Where's that energy?
Randy, have you ordered your Rivian yet, or is that next week?
That's next week.
Oh,
No, in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks.
That's in 2 weeks. I mean,
We've
at the
heard
rate
Randy's-
of my FSD safety score, I'm about to get fired.
Ooh,
From
Oh, I
the
forgot.
beta.
Teslas.
I forgot the best part. So for those tuning in, everyone, Nick and Randy were both very busy and were unable to catch most of the shareholder meeting. At one point of the meeting, Elon was doing a Q&A, and someone asked Elon what his safety score is. And it was a long pause followed by the face that Nick texted to the group chat of Elon
I
going,
see.
I don't know.
It's
I
not
haven't looked."
good. It's not good.
And I shouted 69. That would have been perfect. But basically,
God.
I'm sure it's not great.
I don't think he needs
What?
one, though.
He's not above
What?
the laws.
You don't think he's in the limited beta program?
Oh,
What are we looking at,
maybe.
Mike? How
I
are we
can only
looking, Mike?
imagine.
Yeah, safety score updates, please.
How are we looking,
Oh,
Mike?
yeah, I'm at 98. I was at 97, but I got perfect driving yesterday. The only thing that it didn't like was my unsafe following for 0.7%. So, I think
I'm guessing it wasn't your fault either.
No, it was people kind of into me. Yesterday morning was heavy traffic, and somehow I got a perfect safety score. I'm not too
Nice.
sure how. I guess I was driving so much like a grandma at this point that there was no problem.
Gotta get that
But
Are
beta.
you shocked that there's about 1,000 people with a perfect score? Does that
Yes.
surprise you?
Very much so.
yeah,
I think they're all cheaters. They're all liars.
they
I don't
all
know how they
drive
did
at
it.
11 p.m. at night on a country
Mm-hmm.
road in the middle of nowhere.
Because there was people calling out my tweet. I was like, there's been approximately 1,000 people that have driven 0.11 miles going 35 miles an hour at midnight. And then I got all these replies. They're like, no, I've driven 400 miles since the safety score thing, and I'm still at 100. And I was like, where are these people? They got to be
Where
in
in
Kansas.
Nebraska are you located? In Montana.
There's no way that person has been on a freeway with cars on it.
Yeah. What
they've gone
farm
400
do you
miles.
work at? That I
They have a track that they use for performance testing, but instead they just go in circles. They just
They also have one
30.
other person on there just to make sure that the system doesn't think that they're off road because it sees another car.
Right.
But that person tries to
Uh-huh.
stay as far away as possible. So
I'm shocked that there's that many people with a score that high. That's hard to believe for me, knowing how careful of a driver you guys are. And then
It is virtually impossible. One day I did so bad. I went into the 80 something. I don't remember anymore.
that's
And,
right. I remember.
I mean, my overall score dropped to the low mid something in the 80s, and I was like, I'm never gonna financially recover from this. The rest of the week, I drove like the most senile, elderly. I should not have my license. Like I'm doing 35 and a 70 type of driving, and it's paid its dividends. I am now back at 96, which is
Nice.
hey,
Hey,
so
that's
Wow.
not too bad.
96.
that's an
unsafe-
incredible recovery.
Dude, I went to Apple, and that's about an hour away. So 2 hours of driving. And I drove so cautiously that I gave myself 3 cars distance worth. Enough that it showed up on my driving, like on the speedometer. I could see the car on the radar, but far enough that a semi can get in between me and that car, and we'll be okay.
Wow. That's so safe. You should always
Unsafe
drive like
following is killing me.
Yep.
Yeah.
And aggressive turning. That gets
People
me on
get-
every single road here in the Bay. Even though there's highways everywhere in the Bay, you'd think, oh, there's probably a lot of straight sections. No, there's curves and turns, and you can't take it at speed limit. You have to
Yeah.
go below speed
Right.
limit, or else you get a above. What was
Yep.
it like 0.3 G's or
Yep.
something like that? I forget what they have it as a measurement, but like if you go above that, then you get dinged. It's kind of insane and ridiculous. I really think they need to adjust it, or else you're going to have everyone driving very slow, which is safe in some circumstances, but not all of them.
You're right.
It's mean.
Not always.
That's what that is. It's mean.
It is mean.
So if you keep your 98 score, you're looking at what, like 4 weeks from today?
Probably like the end of December, maybe January. We don't know.
Because he said, like, the way he phrased it was like, we're going to start with the perfect scores and then wait a little while and then do 99 and then do 98 and then do, slowly go down, which is kind of what Randy's prediction was. But I have to imagine it's not going to be a quick process. I don't think it's going to be like one Friday, everyone, that's 100, and then Saturday it's 99, Sunday it's 98. And I hope that's what it is, but I have a feeling it's going to be the 2 weeks thing where it's like you guys get 10.2 and you guys get 10.3 and you guys get 10.4.
I won't be surprised if I don't see it until the end of the year, if anything.
That was my original expectation. I was just
I think they're going to get in trouble with something again, and they're just going to postpone it again.
Yeah.
I think Omar tweeted something funny about it. He said something like, give me $10,000 to experience the software in this car. Okay, here you go. Can I have the software? I don't trust you.
I don't trust you.
So true.
Yep.
So can I have the money back? No, that's mine.
Somebody made a very astute observation where it's like, why are they rating you on your safety when the point of FSD is that you're not the one who's going to be driving anyway? So what does it matter what you're driving
Really,
is?
it should only count how many times you get in the back and take a nap in a pillow.
That one dude's going to have a really bad safety score.
He's
then
going to have negative.
Yeah.
in the bay.
I'll push against that a little bit. I think the main purpose isn't necessarily hitting 100. It's mainly to show that someone can be attentive to their driving style. And they're looking for only people to get on this beta, which will make mistakes and will do the wrong thing at the wrong time. They want to make sure that they're only giving that to people who are attentive and pay attention to how their car is moving.
It's almost, in my ever so humble non-Tesla owner, non-Tesla shareholder opinion, it's almost...
And mine.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost like Tesla is following the wrong metrics. Now, this is a very common issue. Companies will allow the metric to become the goal without really figuring out why the metric is what it is. But when Tesla says, oh yeah, so braking and turning and all that, these are all great measurements of driving. But at the end of the day, what are they trying to do? They're trying to make sure that the person who's behind the wheel is going to be paying attention and not scrolling on their phone. So the metrics aren't in line with what the fundamental goal seems to be, because at the end of the day, it's your responsibility to drive, and as long as you are not, the bottom 50% of safe drivers out there, you should be able to safely operate the vehicle most of the time, right? And most of it is about paying attention. And I would argue that instead of arbitrary, G-force limits or unsafe following distances or any of these other criteria that they've set, just having an awareness score, using that front-facing camera, the driver-facing camera, and because really that's what they're looking for. They're looking for drivers who are going to be sitting there and driving or paying attention to the road and not be on their phone.
Yes.
As tempting as that might be. So, and honestly, anyone can do anything for a few weeks in a testing period. So I would argue they should go back a few months with that data. Oh man, Randy got food delivered again. Man.
We're on a very tight schedule, and I need a multitask.
All right.
Okay. Well,
You have a great point, though, Nick. I get what you're saying with the...
We'll ding your podcast attentiveness score.
Yeah, that one's not winning me any awards. Do you think we'll be in any type of YouTube Rewind this year, guys?
I don't think so. But I guess
if
continuing,
YouTube reached out to me, I'd say no, thank you.
I was going to say, continuing your statement, Randy, I do think, Nick, that's a good idea to include a awareness safety score as well.
I think that's beautiful.
just so that way
It's probably better.
Yeah, it's a lot more.
Go ahead.
I was going to say it's a lot more realistic in terms of what they're looking for their beta testers, and also good for testing out the camera as well to confirm when someone's looking down at the wheel or they're looking down at their phone or looking over at something else that may need their attention or may not. It's a whole lot better to train that camera, or at least that not neural interface, but at least the computer to tell, is this a safe driver? Are they looking at the road? Yes or no? And then only
it's
get
not
better
necessarily
and better.
even just looking at the road. Like, you don't know how many times I'll be driving, sitting at a stoplight, and like looking across the street at like, you know, some billboard or whatever, and not realize that the light turns green, right? And that's being an inattentive driver. And, you know, I'd get honked at or whatever, have to realize, oh, the light's green, oops. That's something that I think they could very easily screen for and test for. And, you know, not only are your eyes not on your phone, but are you actively paying attention? Is your eyesight following what the Tesla Vision is? Tesla Vision, like WandaVision? Tesla Vision is saying is, you know, what's happening next? Are you following that car in front of your eyes, following the car in front of you? Are your eyes darting around? Because, you know, I think there's a thing, even back to, you know, your original driver education course or whatever, you should leave your eyes bouncing. You shouldn't just stare at one thing for a long time when you're driving. Things are always changing. You got to check your mirrors every 10 to 15 seconds. You got to check your speed, make sure you're in the lines, you know, make sure that there aren't any kids running into the road in front of you. Like, your eyes need to be moving. And I think that's the most important score. And it's kind of weird that Tesla hasn't really even recognized it, I guess, publicly, that like that's really should be what they're looking for. Who cares if you can take a turn smoothly? It's really, are you going to be paying attention to the road when the robot brakes?
There was a guy in our Discord that said he had his forward collision warning thing go off and freak out when nothing was wrong. He was just going on the freeway and the car was like, and then it dinged his safety score.
Yep.
Because the car wigged out. So his mindset was to turn off the forward collision warnings. Therefore, his score will be better now, even though he's turned off a safety feature in favor of improving his score. So it's like, that's kind of the polar opposite of what you were hoping to achieve. It's like, this guy wants the beta so bad, now he's turning off safety features because the safety features aren't perfect. So, yeah, I think that's... Elon talked about it during the shareholder meeting. He did say, like, it's very inaccurate for now, and it's in beta. And he said they almost called it alpha, like, because they were that certain it wasn't really ready yet, but they needed something. Excuse me.
Gesundheit.
Thank you.
So the thing that will give us the beta is also in beta.
Yeah,
that's
that
like
feels,
16
that feels
beta.
reassuring. They should definitely treat it like your credit score, where some things heavily outweigh other. And what Nick is talking about, awareness, should be the equivalent of like a credit history or on-time payments or something. Your awareness should be the most aggressive variable, because doing a slight quote-unquote aggressive turn should not bring you down a whole point or two for something so minute. Like, a lot of it is context, and I get unsafe following because people cut me off and it dings me as like I'm the aggressor when that's not the case, and there's no way to appeal that.
Mike had a gif about that. Like when someone cuts him off in traffic, he's like throws his hands up. That keeps working.
Yeah,
that was good. It's like, I'm trying to be safe, sir. Don't cut me off.
And then you just continue driving because there's nothing else you can do.
Yeah. Right.
You can't just be like, but please, can we?
Right.
Is there a way we can negotiate this? No.
Right.
You just have a black mark.
Actually, did you guys see the tweet this morning from a guy named Navan about his rear-wheel drive Model Y?
No.
So he ordered the long-range rear-wheel drive day one when they first unveiled the Model Y. And he just this morning got an estimated delivery of 2 to 6 weeks.
Whoa.
Huh.
Wow.
So I have a theory that that's what Giga Texas is going to start with.
That's the factory. Wow.
It only took a year and 9 months.
And the factory land had not even been decided on when they unveiled the Model Y, and they took that guy's reservation. But after all this time, they were like, we want to start production at Giga Texas, but we don't want to cause an Osborne effect. Or you would... I was thinking, like, why does Tesla care about the Osborne? Because, like, they already are super back-ordered with the long-range Model Y. It's like, if you order one now, it won't get here till April. So why do they care anyway? But then my wife pointed out that it's probably because they don't want a massive cancellation. If there were, like, new Model Ys coming and Tesla was hyping that up, and I was frustrated because at the shareholder meeting they didn't tell us what when the factory would come online or what Model Ys would come out of it first. They didn't go into any of that detail. There would probably be a huge number of canceled orders had a way better Model Y been announced and just starts showing up. So the genius thing about the long-range rear-wheel drive returning is that there's still a few people left that have their order that haven't canceled, and they can't produce that many of them. But the more important thing is you can't order that Model Y anymore. Yeah. So when Giga Texas comes online, they don't have to worry about a huge influx of people ordering that trim right away, because they just probably have... I don't know how many people still held on to the reservation after all this time. They're like, nope, I'm waiting for my rear-wheel drive Model Y. I don't care about all these dual-motor options, and I don't care...
Long range or nothing. I want the best range or nothing.
Right. So they just held on as long as they could, and Tesla sees like a few hundred or a few thousand people that might still be holding on to that, and they're like, okay,
something manageable.
Giga Texas will fulfill those orders first, and then it's more ramped, and it'll start taking orders eventually. But that's my theory, and it makes a lot of sense in my head, so I'm
So the moral that Drew is saying, ladies and gentlemen, is if you pre-ordered a single range or a single motor Cybertruck, hold on to it. Don't cancel it. That's the moral he's saying.
But you might have to hold on to it for 5 years or so.
Yeah, you're not going to get it first. You might not even get it second. You might get it 5,732,623, but you will get it.
I feel bad for these people. They waited this long to get a vehicle that is going to be on the pilot line of Giga Texas, and it's going to have very terrible manufacturing at first. They waited.
No, you would know something about that.
I think it'll be good. Shanghai was fine.
Well, Mike is projecting.
Yeah.
He's projecting.
It's a new factory.
There's always things to work out in manufacturing, and you're never going to get a perfect
but they're
vehicle.
aiming for microns.
Oh, you could aim for microns upon microns of nothing in terms of tolerance and everything, and you're not going to get it.
I still think it's a Fremont problem more so than a new factory problem.
Well, thank God they're leaving Fremont.
Nope.
No.
Well,
no.
Palo Alto.
Well, no, not even that. They're filling Palo Alto with, was it AI and computer engineers for a lot of their autonomous vehicle stuff. So HQ is still going to be filled, or previous HQ is still going to be filled with engineers. It's just not going to be officially called HQ. All the business people won't be there. They'll be hanging out in Texas, I guess.
And they said they want to expand Fremont production by 50%.
Where are they going to expand
to?
I
don't know how.
You don't need the freeway. You don't need it. It's a bottleneck anyway. We know this. We've talked about this. It's a bottleneck.
Well, that's where the batteries go.
That's true.
The batteries go up.
Or down with the Boring Company.
They're in cars underground.
An entire gigafactory underneath the ground.
It's kind of...
The Boring Company. My God. I don't like how this is doing, so I'm just going to start digging. That's fine.
Maybe they think if they re-engineer like casting presses for Model 3, they could improve their run rate a lot, because Shanghai has surpassed Fremont in production rate now.
Shanghai is killing it. These guys.
This is the golden child at this point.
Yeah.
That's producing more Teslas than Fremont is, so that's might as well be their corporate offices at this point.
Yeah.
Well, do you need to sign off, Nick?
I am very sorry to do this, guys. the quick disconnect arm
okay.
is moving, and gotta go spool up some live streams. I will see you guys
It's all
next
right.
week.
It is quick, so
It is quick.
Make sure you
and
catch
it's a
it.
disconnect arm. I will see you all next week. Enjoy the rest of the show, guys. Bye.
Bye, Nick.
Bye,
Bye,
Nick.
Nick.
Now that he's over with,
Woo!
we can get to the real subject.
Now the men can talk.
Now all the Tesla owners can. Oh, wait it.
Oh,
We almost have
I have a
full reign,
semi.
Mike. We almost have. One day we'll be 100% EV owner talking, but
I could go.
he's.
I'll just
I gotta
sign
go do
off
this.
for the
I gotta
argument.
go do this thing. No, it just tell you what, Drew. Just put in your pre-order money right now on the Tesla.com, and we could be a 100% EV host owner thing.
Okay.
Just do it. Yeah.
Or just
I'll
buy
have to.
yourself a Chevy Spark, and then we're fine.
Then we're all EV owners. Yeah,
There we go.
But he's got. No.
could buy a golf cart.
Buy a golf. Yes, I drive.
What was,
this
I
around.
got distracted with Nick. We were talking about Shanghai, weren't we? That was the last thing we were talking about.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, Shanghai is
Yeah.
the golden
Shanghai
child
is-
at this point. They've They have exceeded Fremont in terms of producing vehicles and are producing them apparently in pretty good quality. So with those two things, it's making Fremont look like the old junker, or I think what Elon called it, like basically the spam in a can, where they've just run out of space and they're just trying to find something else. But
Yeah.
they could probably make better use of the space if they could afford to shut down a few lines.
I'm all for them just shutting down all of Fremont once Giga Texas and Shanghai and Berlin are all online. And
Yeah.
then they just take everything out, put it all out on the delivery lot, all their machines and everything. It'll make a whole bunch of press and media and other people on Twitter be like, whoa, look at all these machines. It'll just give them more publicity. Meanwhile, they're redoing the interior of Fremont factory so that way it'll be good for producing the best-selling vehicle of any kind globally, being the Model Y.
Right. Yeah.
And the Model S and the Model 3 and eventually the Model X. And then at some point, the Roadster if they don't decide to move that to Texas as well. But
Or enter production. Yeah.
or enter ever. Why would they enter
If that,
that?
let's just get into production first.
I don't
Yeah.
care where you got to build it in Antarctica. Go ahead, as long as it's in production.
Giga Antarctica, please.
All these
Much
penguins.
cooler.
Penguins driving
We
Cybertrucks.
don't need much of a no.
That is one thing, though,
the-
Randy, that you missed, since you said that you weren't able to watch it live. They
Yeah.
announced that the Cyberquad would be built at Giga Texas,
Hey.
and they're going to try and make it the most safest, which is good, the most
The
safest,
safest quad runner.
safest quad runner that they can make, which will be neat.
I'm just cool if they just have one. Did they talk about any specifics about it at all, or no?
Nothing.
That's as specific as they got. Well, he said they would do some things with the suspension and the low center of gravity to make it near impossible to roll, which is good because I've actually rolled a ATV myself when I was younger.
So
Me
have
too.
I.
That's
It's a rite of
On a-
passage.
Wow!
on a
All
flat
three of us
surface.
have something.
Oh no, that's bad. Oh, no, that's
Well, okay,
We're
no, no, no.
100%.
So the context
100%
is my
rolled an
father-in-law.
ATV podcast.
I was gonna say my father-in-law, who wasn't my father-in-law at the time, told me, "Here's how you do a drift. Now go do it." I'm like, "Okay." I go do it on the flat sand nearby the beach, and of course, I don't lean outward because you would think you'd lean inward. No, you want to put most of the weight on the outside of the wheel so that way it gets more traction. But I leaned inward, which meant that I could flip, and basically flung me off, and the quad almost rolled over me. So it does sound
Yeah.
comforting to not have a quad that rolls over you, but can also go 0 to 60 in a crazy
his childhood traumatic event makes him like okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm glad to finally get some updates on that regarding, like, you know, he didn't gloss it off like, yeah, I don't. Did we say we were gonna make an ATV? No, he was
What?
Oh,
Well,
that's it?
staying true to that.
did we file a trademark for that? I don't think so. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think we did.
Well, There were several things he didn't know about, but employees had to shout out from the audience. He was like, I think we're launching insurance in Texas next month. And someone was like, next week. And they were like, oh, sorry, next week.
Which is pretty cool as well. Finally, California is not the only one with Tesla insurance, which means I can move.
Yeah.
And not
is
worry
that
about-
what we were waiting on?
Yeah.
That's all I was waiting for.
That was the last deciding factor.
Are we
So
all in
Mike's headed
agreement
out.
that we're heading out to Austin then together as a family?
a
Not
family.
Austin.
I can't confirm.
I'm going all the way to the very northwest part of Texas just to get away from everyone. I
Okay.
joke. Maybe.
I don't even know what part. Knowing how
It's like, what's
Texas
up there?
is shaped, which part are you
a
talking
field?
about?
Northwest. Okay, think about the very most northern part of Texas. It's almost like a square.
Okay, so we're talking north part, not west part first.
More north than west.
Okay,
Yes.
I'm looking at it.
Not
Everything's-
Kanye, but north.
Texas is where it's
Shame.
at now.
Shame. Oh, you're going to the national grasslands. What is
Yeah,
that?
I'm going to live with the buffalo out there.
Oh, fine. Okay,
Wonderful.
well, while you do that, I'm gonna go watch. Gig of Texas do its thing. Yo, I'm supposed to be going to Texas next week, and I don't know if I can go now. I think I have to cancel. So that's
Darn.
unfortunate.
2 weeks.
Well, yeah, in two, right? Or maybe I can do like a rotation or something. We don't have proper accommodations for Kika, so maybe
Darn.
Brittany will go out there, go see her friend, and then I'll go out there the following week, and then I'm just gonna go see Texas, Giga Texas, and all
Make
that.
sure to
Dark
wear a colored shirt and also a badge, and then you might get in
I'm
again.
sure the security's completely different now. I can't get away with what I did last time. Yeah, no, I got in big trouble. Sorry if anybody's still listening. That I assume some Tesla people. I kind of got security in trouble, which from what I heard post all that, they've ramped up security in a different way where you can't
Good.
just get.
You
down.
helped.
It is ultimate.
You helped, Randy. You made it more secure at Giga Texas.
I exploited a weakness. There was a soft point, and I had to exploit it.
He kept saying, we don't want another Randy incident again.
We can't.
That's what it's been
They
referred
said
to.
next time we see a green Model 3, shoot on site.
Shoot him right in the
They've all
battery.
got revolvers there. Yeah. Ready
Yeah.
to pop one off. I have a question for both of you.
No.
All right.
Yes.
Fair enough.
What's up?
Next question. If Tesla had to change the free color, what would you change it to?
Blue.
That's a good
Because
question.
Elon said they're considering it.
Make it blue.
Oh.
Blue's the free color?
Yeah.
Be a lot of blue
and then bring
cars.
in silver.
As like a $1,000 add-on?
1,000, like basically put silver where blue is right now, and then make blue what white is right now, and then white goes maybe where black or silver is.
Wow.
Gotcha.
Mike, my brain started moving pieces. And I was like, oh, move this
So
to that.
blue,
That is
blue
where
is
that
free for Mike.
It's honestly not that bad because there's only like 4 or 5 colors that they offer. So
Right.
you just add one.
Hopefully
more
that
and switch
changes.
1 or 2 around.
I would make the silver color the free color.
That's obvious. Why would you do that?
Because that's the more probable one. The
Then
pearl
that
white
means they have to ramp
is
up-
too clean.
They have to ramp up silver again. Then
That's the point.
Well, yeah,
they
but
have the means
Debating
now.
it.
that's why you
They-
put on
if
like
they-
$1,000 or $2,000
Okay,
here.
I suspect silver would be the free one. Pearl white goes back to its current or the price of 1,500, and black is the next one under silver. Blue, red, and white should be the color. The one that, because they're so vibrant, they stand out. Where the space gray, midnight, whatever, I forget what it's called now. That's my
Midnight
favorite
silver
color.
metallic.
My color Midnight
That's my-
Silver Metallic.
That's my favorite one, but it doesn't pop the way the red and the blue pop, and I think that's intentional. So the Mike's color should be the one that's in the middle. Now, if that's what I think it will be, is the silver's the free one. My choice. I like that color.
Beautiful color.
That's my favorite color. If it was so, because of it, if it was
That's why
my
I don't
choice,
like it.
they should make. They should. You don't like it because it's a favorite.
I don't
Okay,
know
you
how,
rebel.
but me and Randy
You
just always are like opposites with color palettes. We're always like, oh, I hate this. Oh, I love that. Oh, I love this. No, well, I hate that.
That's
one, by the way.
disgusting. Yeah, I'm over here. It's like I want to get the green Apple Watch. It's like, oh, let me get boring black. God.
And you're
Way
like,
to
I love
really
all the Apple Watch
stand
colors
out.
this year.
I guess this
and then I
doesn't
was
help.
like,
I love Sierra
Oh,
blue
yeah.
with the hint of purple. He's like, let me get boring black and kill
you're
me
like,
silver.
I love all the colors this year. And I said, I don't like most of them, but I guess I like Starlight. And you were like, I don't like Starlight. It's like, once I mention I like it, he's like, that one I don't like.
That one
But
is my least favorite.
the risk you have to take if you make blue the free color is you make everyone who paid for blue angry.
And
And-
didn't people get mad for white for the same reason?
Exactly. Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
saying
it's a
if you
Band-Aid. They'll
made
get over
silver the free color, no one could be angry because now all the people who got white feel, wow, my car's appreciated in value because white you have to pay extra for, and my car came with it for free. And silver will be this like
I made
very
that case
easy.
for the black.
Maybe that. wait.
Black was free.
Oh
And-
yeah, people are happy they got black. Yes, but there were a lot of people upset when white became free because they paid extra for white and then it was included later. Which I think get over it. Who cares? But you would avoid that criticism if you made a new color the free color because then everyone is going to do that one because it's cheaper.
You're buying a
And-
$40,000+ vehicle and you're going to draw the line at the color paint. Like at that point, your priorities are screwed.
Yeah. No, it's all semantics, but they'll still complain.
Can we
But you
introduce
di-
a new color?
If silver would be new,
How about like the red that Lucid makes? I like that red.
Is that deep red?
as a new option.
It's like Zenith red. Let's add that new color.
I was thinking more. We already have red, but we don't have green.
Nah.
Forest green.
I'm seeing more and more green vehicles on the road from either like Chevy or Jeep or some of these other, and they're just Mustang. They have their variant of a green. I'm like, it can't be that hard to make. And honestly, I wouldn't even say that's one I would go for because I like the matte one that I have for olive. But it's green is becoming the new. It's like green or tan, some type of beige. Like you want that Outback camo, some type of stylistic, rigid design would be a cool one. I could see why they wouldn't want to go that route just because it's a whole new color. But like something like this, like it's more gray than green. Put that on there and it'll be like, oh, there. It's the green variant of what Mike's car is, where it's like a midnight color, but have a midnight green. And then put 3 cameras on it and call it iPhone 11 Pro. There you go, like that.
Yeah.
For the sake of your ecosystem, you need to get a Rivian. Just so everything matches.
Basically. Yeah. Me and Randy will just end up getting Rivians at this point. We'll somehow convince our wives that, maybe a Rivian's not that bad. And then Cybertruck will come out
No,
next
it's
week.
not bad at all. Exists
And the-
versus hopes to exist is a hard competition.
Yeah.
People I saw in the comments
I
like, why
also-
would you do a Rivian? And Drew out there is like, hey, it's a matter of can you order it or not? Like that's when it comes down to it, that's just the brass taxes. Can you order a truck, an EV truck right now or not? That's where we're at this point because we just don't have any information. Mm-hmm. We're obviously rooting for Cybertruck, but it's like,
yeah.
what can you do?
How long is that wait going to be? Knowing Tesla, it's really impossible. I mean, I'd like the latest update always sounds the most believable. I noticed that in the tech community and the EV community is like when someone just said something like an hour ago or a day ago, it's suddenly we put all this credit into it. Doesn't matter who the source is or how reliable it is. Everyone's just like, oh, okay, that's what it's going to be. And then as time goes on, we get no more updates. Actually, it's been pushed back to this, and we're like, oh, okay, now it's delayed. So right now, it feels very much like Cybertruck production will be end of next year, or some people are now hearing summer.
Yeah, unless you're Sawyer Merritt, who says it's middle of next year, or like early next year, which I don't know who Sawyer's guys are. I appreciate the guy and all his news. But why, like, the day after Elon says end of 2023, beginning of 2024, does his source say, nah, it's going to be like the Model Y and it's going to come out like in June or July?
Yeah. Well, I thought he said end of 2022.
Oh, well, maybe I heard wrong, but still.
For the truck. But yeah, I would absolutely trust, regardless of the source, whether it's Elon, who isn't super reliable, or a leaker on Twitter. Hard to believe anybody, but believe the later timeline. That's worked best for me in my experience. If there's someone leaking something that is saying it's going to be worse than we think, or it's going to cost more than we expect, or it's going to take longer than we think, that usually ends up being more correct, because there's not as much to benefit from someone leaking that something will be worse. There's a lot to benefit by saying something will be better than we think. It's coming out sooner than we anticipate. It's going to be cheaper than we thought. That's the ones you should be more skeptical of. So in this case, I got to side with the CEO of the company. I think he's probably more spot on.
Nah.
CEO? Source on Twitter.
I got a guy at Fremont who knows that the Cybertruck is coming out.
And I know a guy who's got a guy at Fremont. So, I mean, basically,
People keep saying, is he sandbagging? And I was like, well, this is a really bad way to sandbag, because it's already delayed. So if you miss your first timeline, I don't know why you would want to sandbag after you're late. Wouldn't you want to say the best case scenario after you've already missed a deadline?
Sounds like a Nikola approach. But
it's like, oh, shoot. We missed our deadline. Let's say it takes 5 years longer than it actually will take. It's like,
oops.
No, you'd want to say, no, it's coming. We're getting there. We're getting there. Hold on. We'll get there. So assume the worst. Hope for the best.
That's a great way to live your life of letdowns.
Disappointment.
Disappointment.
This is how we manage our empty promises.
Absolutely. Assuming Texas gets online very quickly, the bread and as a company, your priority is the bread and butter, and Model Y has to hit the ground running, get to work. Something that's already launched, that's out there, is selling well. It's bad business to just deprioritize that right now with a new factory that is currently like the hot subject in town, that so much so that headquarters is moving there, and everything. There's a lot of attention on Austin right now for it. So the best thing you can do is just get Model Ys rolling out there as quickly as possible. And once you've established the workflow of everything right there in lifetime, it's working, then and only then, all right. You see those steel slabs over there? Let's start messing with that a little bit. I mean, granted, I know it's realistically there's multiple things happening at once, but you cannot deprioritize right now the Y. And I saw I missed the meeting, but the Model 3 is the best selling. He said the Model 3 is the best selling
luxury EV, I think, on the market, or for sedans.
Is that what he said? Okay.
Something like that, yeah.
But the Model Y is still the highest number, right? It's still the highest.
Not yet. It will be. The target that they doubled down on, they gave this at an earnings call in the past, but they're doubling down at this meeting. They're saying Model Y will be the best-selling vehicle by revenue next year and by unit 2023.
I believe that.
So
I believe it'll meet up even before that.
It's a lot of Corollas to beat.
Yeah, there's a lot of Corollas. But it makes sense if you consider how many factories are just doing Y.
Yeah.
Like,
how many Corolla
you've got
factories
all
are there?
factories.
Do we know that?
4?
Whatever it is, it pales.
Shanghai's ramping Y, Fremont's ramping Y, Texas ramping Y, Berlin ramping Y. So it's like, yeah, it's the only vehicle they're building at every location. So of course that would sell the best.
Yeah.
I just hope that means some price drops are coming soon, because it's not. I don't think it's going to sell the best at its current pricing. My assumption is that as there's added production capacity and you have more volume, that's when they can start lowering prices and handle the demand.
Once they figure that out and they get that situated, then they'll change. They'll do to the Y what they did with the 3 and just shift their focus on the next thing that's announced and ready to come out. And for those reasons, I'm not holding my breath for a Cybertruck anytime soon. I would be surprised if we see any news about Roadster at all in the next 12 months. And semis, I mean, it'd be nice to get those things out and going, but even so, like that's more of a backdoor thing. That's not for the consumers. That's all commercial stuff. So for what it's worth, it's not the highest priority, because it's not the bread and butter. It's not the end all be all. It's not anything that's going to help or hurt Tesla. It's just something that they have on their radar to do. After Y, I believe focus will shift towards Cybertruck, but you would be ridiculous with all this momentum you have built up with the Y to just be like, okay, now let's start working on the Cybertruck, when, as you pointed out, Drew, every factory at this point is, pooping out Ys at the quick. They cannot meet the demand. They are so behind on orders. As soon as they get those, I know. Smell it, Mike. Smell it. As soon as they can get those,
why would you say that?
I almost said a dirtier word, But they're trying so hard and got so far, but in the end, it didn't even matter. They can't.
Do you think it would have been such a bad thing if I'm imagining an alternative universe where Giga Texas was primarily going to ramp Cybertruck before anything else?
I think it's bad.
Would that have been so bad? Think about how cool that would have been. We would have had this shareholder meeting with people talking, and then in the background you just see these exoskeletons on the line, and it's like, we're going to deliver a few Cybertrucks by the end of 2021 on schedule. It beats the Lightning. It beats. It's on par with the Rivian in launch,
then you would have
but the prices are better.
Vehicles that are so delayed in delivery that it's just not good PR. If you can get the number down on the Y from
Y's been
next
delivered
year
at Fremont.
It's been delivered, but those are clickbaity headlines. The truth is, people are waiting a long time to get these vehicles. Still, they got to get that gap down. That's the real number.
Yeah.
Is that gap? If you start focusing on Cybertruck now you got 2 vehicles with this enormous gap. Like, hey, it's shipping sometime between March and May. So
I feel like there's an equal gap.
Wouldn't you rather, as a company, reduce that gap as quickly as possible so you can meet the initial demand, and then you can change your focus?
Yeah, but I'd say that I would have them meet the Cybertruck demand first, if financially possible, because there's a lot of that, whereas the Model Y, they are delivering, and people do have those, versus people who ordered a Cybertruck in 2019 are now going to be waiting until 2023 to get their
is
vehicle.
Larger than life. They're looking at it like it's a god, and there's just too much pressure on it.
Basically, I'm saying I would have rather Cybertruck delivered at the end of 2021 with Model Ys with a 12-month wait period. Like, if that was the cost, I'd say worth it.
How rude of you.
Okay. Model Y deliveries are going to take a while because we're halfway there already. It's like delayed till April, I think, for new Y. So in this scenario where the Ys are back ordered substantially, but the Cybertruck comes out, I don't know. I feel like that would have been more exciting / fun for the pickup truck electric revolution for Tesla to be right there at the beginning of it versus we'll get there. Wait up.
I would say, as annoyed as I am that the Cybertruck is delayed, like almost a whole year or something like that, I think it's a lot better that Tesla is getting more of their vehicles into people's hands, or driveways in this case, and is able to at least saturate the market with one of these products enough to where they can probably and likely, Elon hinted at this, at finally lowering the price again after these price hikes that we've seen. I think it'd be a lot better to get more people behind the wheel of these things rather than look at the Model Y and the Cybertruck on these pedestals that if you order it, you're going to have to wait a year or two just to maybe get it or buy it for a very crazy amount of money from a private seller. It doesn't seem like a better future because they're going to be cell constrained, they're going to be chip constrained, they're going to be manufacturing constrained and all that. I think the way that they're approaching it right now is a smart way to go about it, and they still are figuring out how to stamp these things and make the chassis a successful chassis, or successful chassis at least in the car industry. So I don't know. It sounds
it was
nice.
Probably the responsible thing to do, I'm guessing. The financials, I don't know what they look like, but because we haven't delivered a single vehicle from Texas yet. So even if they prioritize Cybertruck first, we'd be still looking at the same amount of delays we're looking at now, because these are all, in the U.S. at least, these are all Fremont Model Ys still. So
true, but there also comes the fact that there's more demand for cells in the Cybertruck, along with how to manufacture the thing. Where, like Randy said, the Y is the bread and butter. They know how to make it. It's easy. They can serve it up on a platter, and people will buy it.
Right.
And right now, no one else is successfully reaching what the Y is doing for that market. Nobody's really got the truck thing rolling out too. So I hear what you're saying, Drew. How cool is it be to be, if not the first, still be up front in the front of the line as like Cybertruck was announced. It had this big, theatrical presentation, and it was three-dimensional, and it was like an iPhone but for cars, and that's cool. And I think that's going to be remembered more than the delivery. But no one is touching what the Y is doing right now today. They're not reaching the numbers. They're not having the same mass. And as cool as it is, just like, hey, wide adoption rate for different vehicles, SUVs, sports, sedans. Let's get the coupe going. As cool as that is right now, the fact is, besides Tesla, no one is being that successful with the crossovers the same way. So, lead on that foot, because the Cybertruck has already made its mark, for better, for worse, depending on what camp people sit on about how they feel about it. Nobody doesn't not know what that is now, and that's good enough to still have prevalence in that industry to say it's coming. And while everyone else is like, well, where's the deadline? I'm sorry, where are your gigafactories at? What are you doing that's so revolutionary with your battery cells or your or your network? And while we're at it, where are your sedans of different calibers and price ranges and all this stuff? And we at least are shipping and delivering, and we're being successful. Yeah. They can at least
where's
clap
your profitability?
Back then. Yeah, they can at least clap back and be like, where's your Fortune 500? That's what I thought. So, I mean, people know better. It's easy to say like, they're delayed with the Cybertruck. And like Mike said, it's frustrating from a point of that, like, we're kind of in queue waiting, but I absolutely get it. And even with FSD, as much as I complain and groan, I'd rather get it right and be right than have something that's actually an even bigger setback later. And if they rush Cybertruck, something's wrong with the chassis, something's wrong with the exoskeleton, or something's wrong with, people try to troll the whole breaking mirror thing, and it gets bad PR. I don't see why they wouldn't then put things on a longer pause, the same way they are pausing software or trying to get some any quality control issues fixed and stuff like that. And at that point, it's just adding one more aggravator to the whole equation, as opposed to, hey, Model Y is looking good, it's selling well. It's just let's get that initial demand. At least can we regulate our demand a little bit better, and then do what we got to do. It's a good problem to have. Tesla is so successful, they just can't keep up. That's a pretty awesome problem to have. Right.
It's crazy when you think about how many vehicles they delivered when we got those numbers, and they beat expectations again. Simultaneously, they're raising prices. and delivery times are getting pushed out.
Even the threes.
So you're like,
even the threes have been
yeah, the
raised now.
threes.
Nothing is cheap. Nothing is in the 30,000. Nothing no more.
Except for the
Right.
Cybertruck.
So they're
Except that's not even out.
right. No, I really think they should update the pricing on the Cybertruck website as soon as possible.
No,
I think
that'd be giving information on the Cybertruck, and they don't want to give any information on the Cybertruck.
I'd say information that could lower demand might be a good idea. Otherwise, if you can lower demand on a future product that convinces people to buy a current product, that's a win, right?
No, it's an adverse effect. Hey, there's updates. It's closer around the corner. Quickly, get your orders in.
I think they'd
I
rather
could see them being like, well, why would I buy a Model 3? I'll just wait for the single motor Cybertruck. Actually, we're not going to make the single motor Cybertruck ever. Oh, okay, I guess I got a Model 3.
That's what they said
Sale.
about the real wheel long range Y.
Yeah, and they told them all to get the dual motor.
Yeah, but that was
Now
when.
they're gonna-
I guess that was a few months before delivery. So yeah,
That's what happened to Mike.
yeah, literally my story. I
So
wanted a rear-wheel drive. They gave me an all-wheel drive. I said okay.
No, you want all-wheel drive. Okay, I guess I do.
I think it was more
I
of
want
compromise.
real No, no, you don't. Okay.
what influenced me was my cars were dying. I needed something to get me out of the sinking boat.
Yeah,
And I
you
needed
didn't
it
have the
quick.
time
Yeah.
to wait.
And the pandemic didn't help in some cases, but helped a lot in other cases. So
Yes,
it just
that
meant
brings us to where I am. I'm on the boat of I have time, so I can wait for everything to get better / cheaper or improve. So I wait.
Mike basically said, it's like there's this hole in this ship, and my job is to get it pointing in the right direction.
I was basically Captain Jack Sparrow at the beginning of Pirates of the Caribbean. The boat's literally underwater, and I'm on the
Yep.
very top of it, hoping that I could get to the dock in time. Except he did it with
You
so much
have heard
swagger.
of me.
I kind of fell into the water and tried jumping back up onto the dock. But, I don't know. You can always do an EV conversion on your Sonata, Drew.
Bet the range
Hey.
would be like 30 miles.
Where are you going, Drew? That's fine. That's more than enough.
Yeah, that's enough for
that
me. I
gets you
guess.
through the month.
No, I don't like the Sonata very much. I wouldn't want an EV
He
version.
wants working AC.
AC's working, thankfully. Oh, the clean fuel reward for California residents went down. Did you notice that?
I don't look at that. And I don't
Yeah, I
think Randy
don't know why
does
you
either.
Completely
Well, Randy
irrelevant
doesn't
now.
need to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize it went down. It's $750 now instead of
Whoa.
$1,500.
That is
Huh.
sad but expected.
And the standard range is the most expensive it's ever been.
Ever.
And by default, they configure it with the sport wheels. And if you opt for the aero wheels, the delivery is June.
Wow.
Randy, I hope
What's
Supply
the
chains are
delivery
next
if it's
Tesla. Hard.
if it's the sport? What's the delivery looking like?
April.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Oh my god. Did that
Randy,
actually
maybe we
happen?
should just order a 3 and Y now
Yeah.
in the event that our 3 and Ys get destroyed by the beta.
Listen, our cars are gonna be so old by then too. We might as well just get our orders in. But to
You
be
plan on
honest,
buying a Tesla
I
in the
already
next
told
decade.
you if I ever get another Tesla outside the 3, I'm not getting another 3. I'm going straight for the Y.
I'll probably go for a
Wow.
red Y. Or if they have a silver at
Ooh.
the time, I'll go for the silver.
There's special places in my town that always have Teslas parked in them, and I found a place recently near my grandma's house that always has a red Model Y there. So I always make an effort to, because my car doesn't have a safety score, I always just look at it as I'm driving
That's
by.
fun. Ooh, ooh, ooh! Hit him! He said it. Hit him. Dock him.
There's also a performance Model 3 always parked at this one plaza that I always take time to look at. Those rims are sweet.
I think with
Beautiful.
the black trim now, I would go with the red. The red and black looks beautiful.
We
Yeah, I
can
was
be
going to say
twins.
to answer your guys' to answer the question I asked you guys, I want black to become the new free color.
Again.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep on
because
flipping.
with the chrome delete now, it looks so much better. Like the black trim with a black paint, like I've seen those 3s and Ys now, and I think they look amazing. So I was like, I wouldn't mind if all of the Teslas or like 90% of them. I'd be curious of the take rate on the.
That's
paint options for the paint
Elon's
color.
personal car is black. He has the
There
black
you
and
go.
the black.
I don't know if it's cheaper to paint in black or more expensive, but I wouldn't mind if they brought
It's
that back just to
stealthier,
mix things up a bit.
and you put the tint window on it too. Oh, Bruce
looks
Wayne,
great.
who?
I love the black Model Ys.
I saw something funny on the highway the other day where there's a white Model 3 with black trim, and right behind it was a black Model 3 with chrome trim. I'm like, you guys need to change.
Ah,
Whoa,
whip wop.
whoa.
Now, behind that, you need a chromed out Model 3 with white trim. It's the Captain Phasma of Model 3.
I'm gonna cause so many accidents if I did that.
Have you seen that? Someone has one.
I have
There's
seen
a
it.
few
Phasma.
like chrome wraps. Embrace the chrome.
Holy
Model
chrome.
Y's almost sold out for the year.
It is pretty
it's-
scary.
It is phenomenal how well the Y is doing. You can add another 10,000 right now, and people what that's saying is that it is still well worth it. We've all said this, like they are at a steal right now. These things are stupid cheap, and in the sense that the longer you have it, the more money you
Yeah.
save.
Oh yeah.
When you look at the long game, yeah. Short game, it's like you're buying a 40... What does it start at? 50? 40, 50 for the Y?
40.
Model 3 starts at 42,000.
Yeah, but for the Y, is it like 50?
55.
55. So you're buying a car for 55K right out of the get-go, or at least put a down payment on it
For the cheapest option.
for the cheapest option. That's pretty expensive. But
And performance is the only one you can get this year, and it's 62,000.
Well, if you look at it from a leasing point of view, even if we go with the cheapest model, which is 42, you're spending $14,000 a year for just a couple years, for 3 years, to get yourself a barrier of entry into the EV market. And if you're going to treat it like tech, where you trade it in, then I guess you're paying $1,000 or whatever that number ends up being. If you put a down payment on, you're spending effectively. If the cost is 42, you're like a little over $1,100 a month for 3 years is what you're paying just to have this EV. I don't understand leasing that in that sense, because you're treating it like tech and it shouldn't be. But say even if that was the case, people are doing that now with sports cars and trucks and stuff like that, on top of gas and oil and maintenance and this and that. And there's so much more up cost, especially the longer you hold it. Whereas this, the longer you hold it, it's what it is. It's you plug it in and there you go. There you go.
Right.
It's
Man,
kind of
I think it's just
a steal.
too many people have caught on.
Yeah.
It's the problem. This is why I'm rooting for Tesla's competitors so much. I was like, okay, I'm willing to admit I'm biased, and I think all of my Tesla preference comes down to software and the display, because that's something I use and interact with regularly, and just no other car has touched that. Like, no other EV has gotten a display as expansive as a Tesla, even a Model 3, really. Like, not even counting Cybertruck or Model S with like 17-inch screens, but even the cheapest Teslas have these huge screens with fairly intuitive software. I get that they're buggy sometimes, and we have our criticisms, but trying to replicate that software experience in any other vehicle, I can't do it. It's not in the Mach-E, it's not in the ID4, it's not in
Rivian.
the Bolt. It's not in any of that. And I feel like that's my preference. That's why I would want a Tesla before anything else. But I know that that's not everybody. So if GM and Ford and other companies could, I almost said Toyota, and I was like, no. If all these
they're
other
waiting for Subaru.
if all these other companies could step
What, the
up
Prius?
on range, Yeah, and if they could all step up on range and acceleration and price and get a bunch of people to not buy Teslas, that would be great, because then the delivery times for Teslas could go down, and
I can get my Tesla.
Accessibility for someone for somebody like me would be more reachable. They'd have to be more competitive. Be like, okay, we got to lower prices, we got to bring demand, and I'm just in it for the screen. Basically, that's like my driving force. So I'm like, as long as everybody else does better, so that Tesla has to be more competitive and lower prices. And
I want to make my
time.
pitch right now to all the manufacturers out there. The first company, hear me now and hear me loud. The first car manufacturer that makes 120 hertz refresh rate screen, Drew will buy that car or truck.
What? I will make my bid now. Drew will buy it.
I will bet
hertz car.
every single. I would put it on my dog. I would put it on my house. I would bet my wife.
Randy lost his dog in a bet. No, it would come down to.
I'm just kidding.
It's too big a decision for me and my wife. I don't think she would go with that. Honey, we need this car.
I'm a future
Why?
teller.
You'll know.
It's got
when you see it.
120 hertz.
It's 120.
I don't see it.
If the Honda Fit E or whatever comes out with 120, if the Chevy Bolt comes out with 120 hertz, Drew's gonna be like, this display is actually not that bad. You're not sure. There could be software updates, but at least the hardware is there. That I gotta tell you.
I think size matters too.
That's what she said.
Like, I need I'm on this big screen trend right now. I'm getting a big watch screen, big phone screen, big iPad, big Mac screen.
That's some big screen energy you got going on there, Drew.
I do genuinely love the interior on the S and X. It's just way out of our even my dream car isn't affordable for my dream scenario. It's
Cybertruck has a bigger screen than that, right?
17, right?
It's the same.
Yeah. Okay.
Same size.
Same size.
Yeah. Honestly,
But
looking at it from when I peeked
totally
into the
different
window,
software.
you can see the size, but it's not. I was more distracted not by the size of the screen, but by how naked the interior. You think you'd be used to it too with having a Model Y or 3, but just seeing how naked the cabin looked and felt, and with the yoke which I'm confident would not be obstructing the view of the display the way the Model S is,
because there's no display there.
Because there's no display, but the screen almost feels small because the cabin is so big, and it messed with my brain. It's like, I don't know if that's a big screen or not, but that's because you're looking at like, oh no, this is spacious. You can almost stand up in the Cybertruck inside the cabin, like, stretch my legs and sit right back down.
I bet you could.
It's my version of the Millennium Falcon. I'll go in the back and play that version of chess or something.
Did you see MKBHD change his tune on the yoke?
I did.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Well,
it made me laugh.
I mean, it was inevitable, right? When you use something for a duration of time, you get used to it, or not even using it. When you're in a situation and you're used to that situation for a given amount of time, it just becomes reality for you. It just becomes
Which is why people stay in abusive relationships, because they're used to it.
Wasn't gonna go there, but sure. Let's.
There's
My
Randy's
abusive
controversial statement
relationship-
of the day.
My abusive relationship is with the iPad Pro. What are you guys talking about? This iPad OS thing is frustrating.
Right.
Oh, you thought
I'm
we're
sorry.
talking about relationship? Gentlemen. Gentlemen.
I'm sorry. I don't know why my head went there, but no, I think what stood out to me about his tweet is Marquez said, given the option to have a full wheel, he wouldn't take it.
He would actively go against it.
Ooh, I was like, that infers like.
Yes.
That's more than tolerate.
And since he said that, and I was like, all right, I've been driving differently on purpose. I put my thumbs right in the middle.
Test like I do.
Yeah, I put my thumbs right in the middle right there, and I purposely been driving like this just to see. And to be honest, I'm like, yeah, my hands are pretty comfortable. I'm more of a one hand like this, or I'll go like that, but more comfortably. Honestly, I'm under. I grab under like this the what is that, the 4 and 7 or something. Like, I'm more comfortably like that. But lately, I saw you do math in your head. But I have lately been doing.
7's only one, dude.
You know what I mean, like just underneath. But I've been doing 3 and 9, and I'm like, this is comfortable. This is actually pretty comfortable. So I can see why you would actively, especially if you have FSD, your hands are not going to be touching that. Whatever. Let the car drive. It's fine.
For now, it's still got to be touching. But yeah, I think that there's been enough acceptance of the yoke that it's very likely to stay on the truck.
Well, Elon actively says is there any chance of that not being the case? Like, no chance. Like, it's yoke. Like, you don't like it, you're not getting a Tesla then, because it's going to be a yoke. Then I think as soon as he put his foot down pretty aggressively with that. Yeah, you find a way to get used to it then. Otherwise, that's just not your vehicle of preference anymore. Now,
I thought it was funny because I saw a commenter saying, like, Tesla's not taking the Model S seriously with that yoke. And I was like, they're back-ordered like 8 months. They could do with some less demand right now. They don't care if certain people don't like it. It's like, too many people like it already. We can't catch up. And they delivered over 9,000 in the last quarter.
That's 9,000.
Over. Everybody's estimates was saying like they were expecting like 7,000 maybe, or like around 6,000 deliveries, and they did over 9,000 S's. That's a lot of yokes.
Vegeta must be mad.
9,000.
That can't be right.
Car companies have to make choices on design. Based on
say if you don't like the
like.
yoke, buy from the used inventory list and get a 2020 Model S then.
Buy a Lucid.
Or just get a retrofit on the wheel. There's some people or third parties that support a different wheel for like the 3. If you want to get a yoke on your 3, you can buy that and then install it.
Really?
I did see that.
Yeah.
I wonder if you could with the Plaid though, because it has all the buttons on it.
I think they offer those buttons. But
I didn't know that.
I've seen a few videos or at least photos of this retrofit for like.
Wouldn't
3s.
the wiring be different though, Mike? If now you're getting buttons that weren't there before, like on the 3. If I wanted to, does that?
It's not a new. It's not a Model S yoke going on the 3. It's like a custom yoke.
It looks like the Model S yoke. It's not like someone took a Model S yoke and put it on a 3. Someone made a custom yoke that looks close to a Model S yoke. And then what they did is they just tapped into the wires for those stocks and everything else. So you don't have to touch the stocks. Or maybe they take them off. I've seen some photos.
Yeah, this was from
video.
Tesla Owners Online tweeted a picture I'll send you guys. And it says his wife took the Model 3 with the yoke. She tends to get upset and she hasn't said a word. Oh, wait.
Whoa.
She hasn't complained about it. I remember later someone, maybe it wasn't Tesla Owners Online, but someone mentioned that their wife got used to the yoke and then they went to a vehicle without it and they didn't like it. They were like, I want the yoke back, please.
I like that yoke.
There's an Elon Musk signature on that dash.
You can buy those. I've seen those for sale.
Okay.
They're like a decal.
So, not because of any type of electrical situations, I would just be too intimidated to swap out any part, even if it was in the reverse that you're getting something with a yoke to get a full wheel, because I fear it's going to actually compromise the integrity of that design that it was intentional at that point. So if I got a S later on or something and there was a yoke and now everything's kind of been retrofitted to be kind of around the driver at that point, like the display angles at a certain degree and all that stuff, I wouldn't want to swap it out for something else because that was not what the design called for at that point. I just wouldn't want to mess with it at that point. And maybe that's just me not wanting to do extra work or something. But if it's not supposed to have it, you know how people were drilling when iPhone 7 came out and they were drilling holes to make a headphone jack, and even though it still technically worked and they put in a headphone jack and everything, it didn't
Strange
call
parts,
for it. Yeah, I just don't want to. I would stick with the yoke.
It depends on how intolerant you are of the yoke in the S or the Cybertruck, or if you don't like the wheel in your 3 or Y, or any other vehicle. If you want to swap wheels and all that. If you really don't like that wheel, that steering interface, like my wife does with the Cybertruck, you might be swayed enough to go for a third party and get a regular looking steering wheel that allows you to do the things that you want to do, whether you want a little bit more sporty steering configuration or if you want something a little bit more comfortable with doing hand over hand without having to kind of guess where it is or trying to figure out or get used to how to steer a yoke. It all depends.
So she wouldn't consider a Rivian if the Cybertruck is yoke only?
Right now, I think what's on her mind is if Ram makes a really good product of an EV truck, that is in the cards. But it's all dependent on a bunch of factors, but it's all on whether Tesla does allow first steering wheel in the Cybertruck, which it's looking less and less likely to happen. And or if the competition can provide something that's really good. Like if there's an R2T Rivian, that might not be bad with 500 miles of range. Or with Ram making an EV, which we already have a Ram and we love our Ram. If they make an EV that makes sense, can tap into maybe the supercharging network, or at least has a lot of support from the existing regular EV Go and all that.
Right.
It all just kind of depends. But I don't know.
I like this
you said,
Model 3 yoke. It does look nice.
I keep on looking at it. It's really nice, but it's all kind of on the competition right now. I agree, Drew. The competition really needs to come and hit Tesla where it hurts, or else we're going to be stuck with very minimal options with Tesla, and we're not going to get at it.
I don't even see it as like hitting them. It's like alleviating them of the burden of this EV transition. Like Tesla's
way to look at it.
All the work. They're like carrying all these people wanting to switch to EVs, and everyone who's in the market is like, that one doesn't seem as good. That one doesn't seem. I'm going with Tesla. So they're like doing all the work. If someone else could kind of pick up the slack, so Tesla could breathe a bit and catch up on orders, and then make more affordable vehicles, that'd be one thing. But no one's catching up, unfortunately. Maybe VW could help.
They're probably the closest. The VW
or a lot of the Chinese brands.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if is it Neo or Xpeng, all those guys, they come on over with their products. It'd be neat to see those compete.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to.
I'd love to learn more about
I've heard
those.
good things.
Yeah. I hope. We can only hope.
The battery swapping doesn't make sense in my head, but it's technically impressive.
The only competition Tesla has is with another Tesla. They are competing with their used vehicle market.
It's just sounding more and more like iPhone.
Hey, I mean,
used
for a long
vehicle
time.
market is pitiful, honestly. It's like all more expensive than new.
Right. They just make you buy new Teslas, and it elongates their delay even further. It's genius. It's almost like mastermind 4D chess, and I'm over here, I like the yoke. And they're over here, 20 steps ahead of all that. It's like, yes. Enjoy your new yoke.
Like the cheapest used vehicle from Tesla, at least, has full self-driving, of course, but it's standard range, $50,000 with 20,000 miles on it. It's insane.
Oh.
It's not. It's like, well, you could do that, or just wait a while and you get a much better deal on a new one.
Mm-hmm. It's all about the wait game.
Man.
How long are you willing to wait?
Patience. Mm-hmm.
Long enough, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there certainly needs to be some price adjustments if they expect the Model Y to be, best-selling vehicle ever by 2023. That's not going to happen at current pricing.
No, I think they're forecasting with
China.
4 factories making the same car, and that car being bought out by everyone as much as it can be produced. The price will likely or hopefully go down, unlike what's been happening recently with Shanghai increasing production, but also the price increasing as well.
Yeah.
So, it better turn around.
At what point do
Yeah,
we
they got
draw the
some-
line and say no more? But they'll just keep doing it anyway. It's almost like they're seeing how far they can push the buttons. Which I probably that's too simplistic of a way to see it. But I feel like they are they're like, all right, we had these lower costs as a barrier of entry. We got a little too good with the standard range, and well, they had to cut that back real quick. They even had their ha-has with 69,420 for the S, and they did all this, for lack of better, marketing stunts and stuff like that. So now where people are taking it seriously and they want it, and they're like, wait, okay, wait, let's put the real numbers on there now. But then they're too scared that they might shell shock a little bit. Oh, it's too much, too aggressive. And so they keep doing more and more. Like, no, we keep selling out. Okay, more and more, selling out, more and more. Oh, there's a yoke. And you can't change it. Oh, they want that.
They want.
Oh, they want that.
Maybe we give them a wheel.
Whoops. Maybe. They're like, how can we make our products less desirable?
Yeah.
Add a little
How do we
antenna
lower
fin on
demand?
the top.
We're removing more features. No more liftgate.
No more summon.
No more-
No one was using it.
No lumbar support.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well. Closing thoughts, gents?
Rivian still looks cool.
Yes, it does.
For selfish
excited
green
for them.
reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And hopefully
For
Aptera
green
gets in the
reasons.
market quicker. It'd be nice
Please.
to see them
Oh, yeah.
in competition, in somewhat competition with,
Absolutely.
I don't know, a more cheaper version of an EV.
Yeah.
But
Well, they're kind of in their own field in a way. but
time
yeah.
will only tell.
Mm-hmm. So, well, good luck with your safety scores. I'm going to continue driving like a madman. I hope you have an excellent rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.